From the world of John Wick, it is Ballerina. Ana de Armas is the titular ballerina. And if you think you've seen all of this in Red Sparrow, when Jennifer Lawrence went through horse school, you haven't seen it all, because we have a whole nother ballerina / assassin situation going on here. Alonso, what's this movie about?
She sent you here to kill me?
Or you can leave.
I'm not leaving.
Your choice.
Yeah, one of my questions is, do the ballerinas ever actually like dance for the public, or is it just a front for, murder school? Anyway, Ana de Armas, we see in a flashback, she is a young woman whose father is on the lam, and he is murdered by a mysterious cult of people who have X's branded on their wrists, and their leader appears to be a weirdly de-aged Gabriel Byrne. The only person she can turn to is, of course, our old buddy, Ian McShane, who passes her off to Anjelica Huston, who runs the Ruska Roma, whatever, ballet academy. Cut to a few years later, it's Ana de Armas, and she's got all the guns. And they send her out to the field for her first gigs, and she's pretty good at it, but she encounters somebody with the X brand and is like, oh no, you killed my father, I must find you and destroy you all. And things get complicated from there. I tend not to care about this stuff while it's happening, but apparently, like, they hired Len Wiseman, who did the Underworld movies and is not a great director of action movies or otherwise, and apparently the John Wick brain trust came in and was like, no, not quite, and apparently did a ton of reshoots. This is a movie that was supposed to have come out like a couple years ago. The late Lance Reddick is in it, so they're definitely, some of this was shot a while ago. Anyway, what we have here is a pretty entertaining bit of nonsense. The plot is minimal, and the fight scenes are not the sort of crazily balletic hand-to-hand stuff that you get in the John Wick movies, but you do get these crazy sequences involving specific weapons, whether it's like, okay, she's got access to hand grenades. How many hand grenade things can we do in the scene? More than you'd imagine. She's got plates. She's got whatever it is in these sequences, and then just goes to town with them. And it's really fun. And so, yeah, this movie is ridiculous, but I was never bored.
So not only do they do reshoots, but Chad Stahelski came in to direct those reshoots, right? Who had done the previous John Wick movies. He and David Leitch are these former stunt coordinators turned directors themselves. And so, as you say, like the choreography in them is always really important, and they really want us to see, what is happening here. So it's not like right. So that's meaningful in these films. So I, in watching it, did not know all of that backstory either, but in retrospect it makes sense, and you can kind of see where the seams are. Like, sure, Keanu Reeves shows up.
Especially then.
Right. And it's literally like two scenes, and Keanu Reeves is like, it's like him and Ana de Armas. And like, they're the only ones in the scene. Maybe there's like one like nameless bodyguard in the background or whatever, but like you can see where like they sort of dropped him in, to tie it back to the rest of the series.
Yeah, it reminds me, in my review in Film Verdict, I said it's about as tacked on as when Vin Diesel pops up for the last 5 minutes of Tokyo Drift. It's like, hey, remember me? We're connecting the franchise together, And
that's kind of fun to see him again, because, as is always the case, he can do a lot with very little dialogue. True. Right? So there's only like a couple of words, a couple sentences that he says here, but the way delivers, the way he delivers them makes sense. So I like the idea of Ana de Armas in this role, and we saw some glimmers of this when she was in No Time to Die, right? She's in this Bond movie, and she's like slinky and sexy, but also can kick ass. And like right there, you're going, aha, this is like somebody who should be an action star. And, clearly is up for the physical rigors of this role. But I wish there were more for her to do as an actress.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I was about to say, like, the thing, she we know we can do this stuff, but we know that she can also do this other stuff that the movie has no interest in giving her the space or, time to do, you know?
Yeah. I mean, she is singularly stoic and driven and fueled by rage and the need for revenge. And there's not a whole lot to her beyond that, which is unfortunate. Yeah. When you do have somebody who really can act. And I guess if you're looking back at the John Wick movies, what Keanu Reeves is also doing is kind of stoic and revenge driven. But there felt like more, I don't know, more characterization, more complexity there. Like, this is kind of a boring character.
Yeah, there were, at least with John Wick, you have those moments where he stops and talks to Ian McShane, to Halle Berry, to somebody, you know, and like, even if all the conversation is very cryptic and very stylized, it's a pause, and it's a way for the actor to sort of like flesh out this person, so they're not just like a sort of video game shooter and kicker, you know. And they don't really give Ana de Armas that here. You do get a to the moon camp performance from Anjelica Huston, who is chomping on a cigar and doing this untraceable Eastern European accent. And it's just crazy. And you can tell she read the script, was like, okay, here's what we're doing. And
the assignment.
Yeah, exactly. And she does it, you know, so why not?
I always like this world. I like the rules, the very specific like rules of engagement of this world with the Continental hotels. Nice to see Lance Reddick again. The thing with the coin, and just like the production design is so incredible in these places, and so different from each other. And so like there's a door that opens in the the Austrian. It was Prague. It's Prague. Incredibly cool, like roundy door. Like, and so there's a lot of care that goes into the world building of this place and the rules of it and all that. So I enjoy all of that. And when it is incredibly silly with the action, it can be a lot of fun. Like, I laugh my ass off, and we can trace it, I think, to an early fight scene where like there's a remote control that keeps getting clicked, and the TV behind the fight scene is changing channels to show different kinds of slapsticky comedy. And like, okay, I see where we're going. I see the tone that we're setting here. And so once it's like people hitting each other over the head with plates, it becomes like a Tom and Jerry cartoon, essentially.
Yeah, I will say there is a really cool sort of setup here where everything leads to this seemingly like tranquil, you know, rustic, bohemian, like ski village, you know,
very quaint,
that hides terrible secrets, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a pretty good time, and it's only like 2 hours long, right? Yeah. Like the last John Wick was 2 hours and 49 minutes long.
Yes, it was.
And you see her learn, right? She's not infallible from the get-go. She makes mistakes, she gets beaten up, and she like comes back stronger and stronger. So there is an evolution to her as this kick-ass assassin. She doesn't always have the answers. She kind of messes up, and that's fun to watch.
That's actually one of the things I like about the new Karate Kid movie too, is that that he doesn't come out of the gate like immediately able to beat up everybody. And there's a fight scene where you can see him, he's still winning, but he's also like getting hurt and like falling on his face because he like miscalculates like leaps and stuff. So yeah, I think it's cool when an action choreographer can choreograph mistakes, because, you know, I think it's more interesting when human beings in movies make mistakes and they're not just like, you know, it can't all be the Matrix, you know?
Yeah, and it makes you root for her to figure it out and get better and get stronger. And she's so likable innately that she makes you want her, have her figured out. So I'm gonna say like a 7. Like it takes a while to get going, but once it gets going, it's really fun.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a 6.8. It's like I said, nonsense, but entertaining.
Okay, Ballerina's in theaters. Will you see it? Let us know.